You ever been in a really crowded place and just felt this overwhelming urge to get out? Now, for most of us, that's just a fleeting feeling. But what if that fear of being trapped started to, well, take over, shrinking your world until your own home is the only place left that feels safe? Today, we're going to break down a really misunderstood condition, agoraphobia. I mean, really think about that for a second. That question gets right to the heart of what this feels like. We're not talking about being antisocial or lazy. It's this deep, terrifying feeling of being completely stuck. A feeling that can literally erase places, people, and entire experiences from your life.
So, here's how we're going to walk through this. First up, we'll get a really clear idea of what agoraphobia actually is, beyond all the stereotypes. Then we'll look at how it shows up in daily life, creating this world of avoidance. After that, we're going to zero in on the one core fear that drives the whole thing. And then, the most important part, we'll talk about the path to recovery and the tools that really help people get their lives back.
All right, let's dive right in. The best way to think about agoraphobia isn't as a fear of specific things, but more like experiencing a shrinking world, where the list of places that feel safe just gets shorter and shorter and shorter over time.
This right here is the absolute key. It's not really a fear of open spaces or buses or crowded shops themselves. No, it's the fear of being trapped in those places. It's that nagging, terrifying what-if question. What if I have a panic attack right now? What if I get sick? What if I literally can't get out? That question is the engine driving this entire thing.
So how does this fear of being trapped actually, play out in the real world? Well, it can turn something as simple as a trip to the grocery store into a nightmare. A bus ride can feel like an impossible mission. It creates a life that's basically organized around one thing: avoidance. Let's look at the specific spots where this anxiety really spikes.
And for a diagnosis, the fear usually has to pop up in at least two of these situations. It's all about the pattern. So it could be a packed train car and a huge wide open parking lot, or the feeling of being stuck in the middle of a grocery line and the thought of just being home by yourself. The one thing that connects them all is that gut-wrenching feeling that you're exposed and there's no quick and easy way out if that panic starts to creep in.
Right. And avoiding places is really just the tip of the iceberg. The condition starts to reshape a person's entire inner world, their daily routines. It's about so much more than just a location. It's about how you feel and what you have to do to cope with that feeling.
This is where you see this self-reinforcing cycle really grab hold. See, the more you avoid the things you're afraid of, the more you're telling your brain, yep, that was really dangerous. It's a feedback loop from hell that can feel impossible to escape. Pretty soon, a person might need a friend or a partner to go anywhere, and their whole day becomes this complicated strategy game, all just to manage that constant underlying fear. Okay, now we're getting to the absolute heart of it. If you strip away all the specific places, the buses, the bridges, the crowds, what are you left with? You're left with one single central fear that fuels everything else.
This is it. This one phrase just nails the true nature of the anxiety. It's not the fear of having a panic attack. It's the fear of having one in the middle of a packed movie theater where you can't just bolt for the aisle. It's not a fear of heights. It's the fear of being frozen with terror on a long bridge, completely trapped. Getting that distinction is, it's everything.
And you really can't have a full conversation about agoraphobia without bringing up panic disorder. The two are super closely linked. For a lot of people, the agoraphobia actually develops because of panic attacks. The memory of that intense, overwhelming panic is so strong that it creates this deep fear of it ever happening again. But the great news is that when you treat one, you almost always see huge improvements in the other. And that brings us to the most hopeful, the most important part of all of this. Because just as a person's world can shrink step by painful step, it can absolutely be reclaimed. Recovery isn't some far-off, vague hope. It is a very real, very achievable thing. So if you take one thing away from this, let it be this: nobody has to be stuck in that shrinking world forever. Agoraphobia is not a life sentence. With the right support and the right tools, it is 100% possible to learn to manage the anxiety and take your life back. So, what are these tools for freedom we're talking about? Let's take a look at the proven, evidence-based treatments that help people push those walls back and expand their world again. Therapy is really the main way to tackle this, and it often comes in two powerful flavors:
First, you've got behavioral therapy. That's all about changing what you do. It's about facing your fears in small, manageable steps to slowly teach your brain that these situations aren't actually dangerous. Then there's cognitive therapy, which is all about changing how you think, helping you find and challenge those deep down negative beliefs that are fueling the anxiety.
And here is a perfect practical example of that behavioral therapy in action. It's called a fear hierarchy. It's this really empowering process where you and a therapist work together. You don't start by trying to conquer your biggest fear. No way. You start small. Maybe step 1 is just walking to the end of your own driveway. You master that, you build some confidence, and then you move on to the next, slightly bigger step. It's a structured way to prove to yourself little by little that you are capable and you are safe. This table gives us a great little snapshot of the whole toolkit. So we've covered behavioral and cognitive therapies. There's also supportive therapy, which gives you that crucial encouragement. And get this, now there's even tech like virtual reality that lets you do safe, controlled exposure right in the therapist's office. And of course, for some, medication can be another really important piece of the puzzle. For some folks, medication can be a total game changer. Think of it like a safety net. It can help turn down the volume on those intense physical symptoms of anxiety. Now, it doesn't fix the root cause by itself, but it can make it so much easier to actually do the hard work in therapy and start taking those first brave steps back out into the world.
And that's really the thought I want to leave you with. Agoraphobia almost never happens overnight, and recovery is a journey, right? It's not a light switch. But just like avoidance can build a prison one bar at a time, things like courage, support, and therapy can tear it down, piece by piece, until the whole world is open to you again.